Are you a person who likes to plan ahead? Do you have that trip or vacation or event 6 months in the future that you know every detail down to the minute? Or are you more like me and decide last minute you're gonna drive 2 hours to see your parents on a Sunday afternoon? Because why not, right? Planning ahead can be a good thing. In fact, God is known for planning very far ahead. You may be familiar with the account of Zacchaeus. We know Zacchaeus was a tax collector. Jesus was walking through town. Zacchaeus wanted to see him, but because he was short, he had to climb up in a sycamore fig tree in order to see Jesus. And as Jesus saw him, he said, "Zacchaeus, come down. I need to stay at your house today." Zacchaeus decided he was going to give half of his possessions to the poor here and now because people were complaining, Jesus is going to eat with sinners, because tax collectors were known for gleaning a certain amount of extra money off of the taxes. But that's not the point of the story that I want to focus on. You may have missed over it as I was reading. Jesus was passing through town, and because Zacchaeus was short, he had to climb into a sycamore fig tree in order to see Jesus. Specifically in Luke chapter 19, verses 3 and 4, it says, he wanted to see who Jesus was, unfamiliarity. But because he was short, he could not see over the crowd. Jesus had already gained a fair amount of followers at this time. So he ran ahead and climbed a sycamore fig tree to see him, since Jesus was coming that way. Sycamore fig trees aren't tiny little shrubs that just pop up everywhere. They take time to grow. You see, God planned so far in advance that he knew where Jesus was going to be passing by, and that this man who was a sinner, this man who needed desperately to see who Jesus was, would have a place to be able to climb up and see him. That fig tree had a lot of significance. It's something we often pass over as we read the story. We focus on, yes, Zacchaeus is a sinner. He was short, right? We sing songs about that for our young children. And he needed a savior. Very important details. But in order for him to be able to see Jesus, because of his short stature, because he couldn't see over the crowds, and in order for him to be able to say, my life has already changed simply because I need to stay with you today, as Jesus said, he had to be able to climb. He had to be able to go into the sycamore fig tree that had been planted years before, planned so far in advance. It definitely wasn't like, let me go grab a ladder and stand on it. No, this is something that God had prepared for Zacchaeus to be able to meet his Savior. Zacchaeus could have said, I know I'm not worthy. When those Pharisees had said, Jesus is going to eat at the house of a sinner. How could he possibly do that? Zacchaeus should have said, no, you know what? You're right. I don't deserve to have Jesus be the guest in my house. Jesus, you can't stay at my house today. But because God had prepared a place for Zacchaeus to be, Jesus could walk by and change his life. That same thing is true for you and I. God knew exactly when we would come to faith, exactly every single moment we would turn away, exactly every single moment when we wouldn't feel worthy enough to be in his presence. But when we come to worship our God, he has a place prepared for us, saying, I will be with you always. Where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, there I am with you. And ultimately, Jesus is in heaven right now, preparing our eternal place with him. So God prepares far in advance. As soon as humans sinned, he promised a savior, and that took a couple thousand years to come to fruition. But all the while, God knew, he planned, and he prepared. In all these things, we know that God has a plan for us. So while it may seem like you don't know the direction you're heading, don't worry, because God does.